You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for making this show the show you listen to. I know you probably have a lot of other podcasts and all that, but it's awesome. It's awesome that you're listening. If you're here for Michael Dorn, if you're a big fan, look, if you like the interview and you don't know who the hell I am, which is very possible, Ryan, all I ask is, hey, if you like the interview, you're like, hey, that guy has a good interviewing style. Give it a chance. Listen to more episodes, right? That's not too much to ask for.
No, that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, if you like the episode, if you like us talking, subscribe. It's free and support the podcast. Also, to all my top tiers. Oh, by the way, Ryan's here.
Oh yeah, I'm usually here.
Ryan had COVID.
I did.
Yeah, you're better now.
I'm better now.
You can't smell.
I can't smell still.
That's good for you today in the studio.
Fantastic.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, you claim that your farts don't smell.
They don't. They really don't. 99% of them don't. And that's because I use Rosie's Puppy Fresh Farts. Listen, if you love the show and you're a patron, patrons are those who give back to the show. It's like a streaming thing. It's like, you don't have to pay, but if you want to give back to the show and keep it going, if you like the show and you want to stick around, go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you. And there's lots of tiers, and I send gift boxes and some, there's just so much stuff. You get your name read out on each episode. Also go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, my link tree. You'll see our Smallville con. It's the first one ever in October. Ryan's going. I have to book your flight. I booked your flight. Flying into Newark for it's October 5th weekend. Tom Welling's going to be there. A bunch of people. It's going to be fun. Kristen Krug.
I had to put in my traveler number so I get that pre-check.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Little pre-check.
Little pre-check action.
Yeah. So in that link tree I'm on Cameo. My cameos are fun. People always like them. And Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, my new product for your dogs if their breath's bad. The reason I made this product is because I didn't like my dog's breath. So a capful in the morning I just put in both their bowls of water. It's odorless, tasteless, and their breath is so much better. And I use it every day. I'm not just saying get it. I'm saying I use it. So Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath on Amazon. And got to mention the book, The Talented Farter, is on Amazon on pre-order. It comes out October 22nd. And it's a sound book with farts. And it's meaningful and great illustrations. And I think you'll love it. And please get it. And make it a New York Times best farter. Smeller. The Inside of You online store has some great stuff. Some scripts from my collection for charity. And other Smallville stuff and tumblers and whatnot. So that tells you everything there. Michael Dorn was awesome. Mm-hmm. He was, I knew him from conventions and things like that. And again, I love it when people get personal and open up. And he's had a great career. And he just seems like very comfortable with himself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just seems like I know who I am. Mm-hmm. And I hope you would know who you are by, he looks a lot younger than he is. I don't even remember how old he was, but I remember going, what?
Yeah.
Looks a lot younger. But I think we're all trying to find ourselves and find purpose and all that stuff. And I think this is a good interview. And thanks, Michael, for joining us. Let's get inside of Michael Dorn.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. First of all, now that it's rolling, I definitely want to. You've listened to the podcast, even before you were on.
Yes, before you asked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I love that you listened to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was. Everybody has a podcast.
I've had it for a long time.
Yeah, and some of it is sort of like you see a lot of it, and you kind of go, yeah. After about a minute, you're like, okay, no, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that's enough.
Trying too hard.
Or just not interesting.
Not interesting.
No, not interesting. And even the ones that have been around for a long time that are getting, a lot of airplay and things like that, they tend to lean one way or the other.
Mm.
And
I don't do politics.
No, not politics, but lean one way or the other in terms of the style.
Right.
of the interview. And then sometimes you kind of go, no. You know,
Yeah.
and then I go,
Let me ask you, does the
Yes.
voice matter when you're listening to someone's voice? Do you
No.
get turned off? You don't care if it's a good interview. You don't care who's interviewing.
no, not at all.
Because sometimes if someone has a voice, a whiny voice or high pitched or whatever, I can't really listen.
Ben
Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro can't really take his voice that long
Ah.
because it's really rapid and it's really sort of
Direct. This,
and
what?
you know,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just kind of go, yeah, I get it, you know. But
Insincere, maybe?
no, I don't think so.
Just the voice.
Just the voice.
Just the voice.
No, I think he's an intelligent guy. I think that all of those political people, they're like lawyers to me, where they're going to say whatever it takes to win their case and leave out all the other stuff that may not win their case. Like they'll say, well,
They all
you know,
do that.
yeah, all of them do that.
I mean, anytime, sometimes you just want to watch the news and just go, just give me the news.
Just give me the
I don't want to
news.
hear your opinion on it.
No.
Let me decide what my opinion is.
Mhm. But like, for instance, he'll say something like, you know, well, you know, African Americans do this and do this and do this. And it would be true. But there's a lot of other things
You're leaving out.
that you're leaving out that it's kind of important.
Yeah. I can't believe how good you look.
Oh, thank you.
Why
Thank
do you
you.
look so young?
Diet and exercise.
What is your diet?
I'm a strict, avid vegan.
Strict, avid vegan.
Yeah.
You don't veer away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Not
Never.
at all.
Why
Never.
is that?
I was, long story.
Go ahead.
In about almost 20 years ago, I got diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Right.
And when I got diagnosed, the doctor comes in and he says, Michael, you got it, 25% of your prostate, which isn't a lot. It hasn't migrated to the outer part, so you're fine. And prostate cancer is the slowest cancer.
And the older you get, it's slower. Slower.
No,
right?
it's always slow.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. And so he said, we caught it early. And he says, you know, you don't even have to decide today. You can, you know, take 6 months, get, you know, second opinions and, you know, do whatever you want to do all the research. And then he kind of puts you at ease. He says, look, all men get it. They don't die from it. But
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to get prostate cancer probably?
You may have prostate cancer at some point, you know, you won't die from it, but you have it.
That's kind of scary.
But it's so slow growing that, you know, you'll be 100 before it does anything, unless
You don't do anything.
you don't do anything. And that's a big deal. So he said, and this is the crazy part, I had already been moving towards eating healthy, but not completely. And then he says, all men get it, except vegetarians. I go, what? And he goes, he's never seen a vegetarian with prostate cancer. And this is the guy that's seen 1,000 prostates. And so that sent me to the internet and to people that I know. And I don't like to keep secrets. And so I would tell everybody, yeah, I got it. And they'd have all kinds of information for me.
Right. Overflow.
Overflow. And it was really great because then you can pick and choose. And so I went to the internet and to the people I know that do that. And man, it was like, we put so much crap in our bodies just on a normal basis. Even if you think you're healthy, there's a lot of crap.
Yeah. Sugars. And
Sugar, big one.
Yeah, that's a tough one
really
for
big
me.
one. Yeah.
And it's not like I eat sweets all the time, but I like a soda.
Okay.
You're like, get off that.
You got to get off it. And it's not, and it's so logical. It's not something that, you know, that I'm going and making up because sugar feeds cancer. It's just the way it is. It just,
Yeah.
you know, like in high school biology, when a cell divides, it needs food to divide. It needs to, you know, that's energy. And so sugar feeds it. And in fact, when they look for cancer cells, they put in glucose and the cancer cells go, and they can detect. So anyway, so that's what led me down that. And then all of a sudden I said, well, you know, veganism, and I was already headed that direction. And so let me give it a shot. And so within a week, I'm completely vegan. and my whole body started to change.
Honestly, like you're saying you felt better immediately. Energy, sleep, those things.
The only thing that wasn't easy was I play a lot of tennis.
we got to play tennis.
I love it.
Played my whole life.
I was just playing this morning.
Where?
In Pasadena. That's where I am right now.
Oh, you're good, aren't you?
I'm okay. I'm like, and I'm constantly taking lessons. So
But you can hit the ball. You could serve. You could play a game.
I could play.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
And so the energy level, I could only go for like a half an hour, and then I'd have to take a 5-minute break, and then I can go again. And so that was the transition.
So it's with staining or like having that energy where when you eat meat and things like that, it kind of lasts longer. And now that you're vegan, it's you notice your energy levels are a little different in terms of you just need to take a break and then you're okay again. You just
well, that was the first month or so.
That was just the first month. Now it's fine.
Now it's fine because when you eat meat stays in your body for 7 days. It's just there.
I'm slowly going vegan right now,
and so
I can feel myself.
Yeah, and so what happens is that all of that food is still there, so you can run and jump and no problem. The body is feeding off that stuff. But when you're vegan, it's almost like charging your car.
Yeah,
you run. You need a charge. You put a charge in for an hour, and you go, okay, I can go for another. Except it's not hours. It's
right.
like
What do you eat?
It really kind of depends, but usually carbs in the morning before I work out.
Like what kind of carbs?
Blueberries, green apples, nothing sugary, except for if I'm really going to play hard, I may have a banana.
Right.
And then at lunch, it's one of those meals is a small meal. Like the lunch, if I have a small meal for lunch, I'll have a big meal for dinner. But the big meal is just like pasta with fake meat or something like that, or just pasta.
And you cook?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you don't miss it?
No.
I didn't know I was going to get an education on this, and I like it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like in 2012, I was kind of, heading towards retirement.
Right.
And not, being...
Retirement? How old are you?
71.
What?
Yeah. And so, but I wasn't going, okay, I'm not going to act anymore. It's just that I wasn't going to be on that hamster wheel of always auditioning.
Gotta be
have to.
doing it,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. There's somebody said, I did this interview. What do you want to do now? And I said, health and fitness. I want to kind of get that information out there. So people they don't have to do anything they want. They can do anything they want to do. But just so that they have the information that if they say, I'm not feeling good about this, or my body's not doing this, then this is another avenue you can go.
Wow. What about inflammation? Do you notice like less pains and aches with being a vegan?
I haven't had any pains and aches.
You're so lucky.
The pains and aches are
head, stress,
people.
Are you a people person?
Very much.
You are?
Yeah.
You love going to conventions? You love meeting the fans?
Not that much. I love, meeting people and, like on a regular, like on just a
one-on-one,
right. Or, you're socializing. But the fan thing is really interesting. It's a great way to get something out there if you're doing something. And also it's, the fans are great. But my thing is that it was really tough because I was getting kind of crabby because I was doing so many.
Right.
That I was just tired.
Yeah.
And so I said, I don't want to give the fans a tired Worf. So
tired, nothing worse than a tired
nothing
Worf.
Worse than that. And so I just cut back.
So now you can go and have more fun
and
appreciate
enjoy.
It.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing, because you were, how many were you doing a year?
All of us were doing like 15 and 16.
And that's a lot.
That's a lot.
You could start to get even tired of each other.
No,
we
never got tired.
How is that possible? You did more episodes as a character consistently than any other character, right? Mm-hmm. And you were on set with these people like Frakes and Jonathan Frakes and all Gayton and just the list goes on. There's so many. Will and was it really that? Because it seems like you're all really good friends. Yeah. And was it always like that? Was there ever like Spiner's being a pain in the ass, Frakes is being a dick, Gayton's mad at something?
Gates. Gayton? Is that what?
Gates.
Gates.
What'd I say?
Gayton.
Oh, I said Gayton. You know why? Because I interviewed a guy named Gayton
Okay.
Matarazzo. So I got a little
No,
Gates.
that's all right.
Sorry,
Gates. Yeah.
Gayton.
It was odd in a way. And I don't mean odd in a bad way. It was just odd that, after being in the business, I mean, all of us had been in the business for a few years. And, we do guest spots or run a series and, you like the people you work with or you really enjoy them or whatever the case. And then you just kind of go, okay, that's over. And you go on about your business. But it was just lightning in a bottle. There was just something. And the producers weren't aware of anything like that. They were just hiring people.
Right.
They didn't. But something happened, some spark or.
Was it an appreciation? You felt like everyone had each other's backs?
No.
You didn't feel like that?
We just liked each other.
You just liked each other?
We just liked each other. We thought each other were very funny.
Who's the funniest to you? Who makes you laugh? Who makes you laugh the most?
I
On
can't
set.
say.
How about on set? When you're
I
on
can't
set?
say.
You can't.
No. And again, it's not that somebody, because they're all really funny in their own way. Just Marina is that, that English Cockney wit, and Patrick has that dry English humor, and Jonathan is big and, and he says this stuff that is, it's really just, and Brent it's totally inventive.
Yeah.
Just, you can't really put who's the funniest. I mean, it was great for me because I loved it because you can, no matter who you're working with. And I always, you work with everybody. And then there's episodes where you work with one person in particular.
Right.
And that would be a joy. And we would be laughing about stuff. We'd always, when they said action, we were on it. We never wasted time.
Everybody knew their lines?
Oh, yeah. And although they would say I never did.
Why
So,
would they say that?
who
Because you had
knows?
the most?
I had the least.
They say,
No, I don't know. But anyway, so it was just, I don't know. I couldn't explain it, but
I kind of feel that way.
yeah.
I kind of feel that way on Smallville. Everybody was just it was easy to work with everybody.
Mhm.
And I think we got closer after the show ended.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was like it was work. No one wanted to hang out with each other because you're with each other all the time. And then when the show ends, Tom and I become like best friends. Like I'm like brothers. We're brothers.
yeah.
And Kristen, it's like she's my sister. And I mean, the three of us have become, so it is lightning in a bottle. And
Yeah.
there's nothing worse than having a leader on the show or someone who is not in a good mood, who's always combative, who's always, and I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
you've dealt with that.
Yeah. And there was nobody like that. Nobody stormed off the set. Nobody, said, oh, I'm out of here. It was always, and, and we were brave enough to where we would, if somebody was acting like a dick, you go, that's a little dickish,
And they go, oh, sorry.
Yeah, oh, is it really? Yes. And they go, ooh, sorry about that. And also with acting, we're brutal with each other,
Like didn't believe it.
or, we're like, you're going to do it like that, and there was one time where we were just, something was going on, that we were possessed by something. And I was in my quarters and I was just emoting, like,
Right.
because it was just to myself and I'm, and Marina walks in, she goes, whew, there's some heavy acting going in here. I went, Marina, I'm doing my shit.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. And let me tell you something. Only I know about Shopify. That's not true. So many people know about Shopify, but I am telling you, Shopify is great because I use Shopify and have been using them for years. Whether you're a small business, a medium business, a big business, Shopify is so simple. Especially, you want to sell products, you want to put products on Shopify. It's all right there for you. For instance, I add a product. I just put a picture of the product. It says upload. I go, great, that picture. This is how much the product is. This is how much it weighs. boom, a description. You could check to see how your product's doing, what product is doing great, which isn't. Everything is so simple, and that's what I like. I can't follow directions, but they've made it so simple with Shopify that you could really do well and make a lot of money and make people happy, and it's convenient. It's so convenient and easy to use. You think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing, right, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It is so easy to use, and I highly recommend it. You cannot go wrong with Shopify.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify.
Home of the #1 checkout on the planet.
And the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up by 50%.
Meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/inside. I mean, did you always, because when you were young, you were born in Luling.
Luling.
Is it Luling?
Luling,
and then
Texas.
you moved to Pasadena.
Yeah.
But you really were interested in music.
Yeah.
You eventually had bands and toured and things
Yeah.
like that. Was that the dream to become a musician?
You know what? It was at first. And in fact, music was kind of always a fallback for me because I had played when I was in school and in the orchestra.
You play something?
Well, when I was in school, I played the flute.
Wow.
And before that, I took piano lessons and had recitals with piano. And then in high school, I switched to the bass. And so I played bass for a while. And I was always kind of going, you know what, I'm young enough, I can go back to school and learn how to play. And what I really wanted to be was a session musician. That's what I really wanted to be. The touring and it just was really hard. And trying to keep a band together with 8 people.
Dude, it's so hard.
Oh,
so hard
my
with any 4
God.
people. Yeah.
It's just a good friend. He was the singer, and he was just amazing. He was, Lee Powers, and he was just superb. But when people, and it happens all the time, one day he said, Michael, I can't do this. I have something else, and the band breaks up,
And everybody gets pissed off with you.
And it's just, and so I decided that if I was going to screw up, I really wanted to be on my own terms. It's my responsibility.
Right.
And so I just not flipped a coin, but one day I said, okay, I just can't do this music.
Do you play it all anymore? At all?
Yeah, I'm supposed to play in Vegas coming up.
Well, with what? A band?
Yeah, there's a band that plays at all the cons or something like that in Vegas.
So you keep up with the bass.
Yeah.
You go home and you play and you do these riffs.
What I do is it's so nice these days. In the old days, you had to listen to a record to get a bass line.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's online.
Yeah.
The music is online. And so if I hear a song that I really dig, I'll go, oh shit, now look up the music and everything like that, and I'll learn it.
Like what kind of songs would you look up?
Oh, it's all over.
Can you listen to, do you listen for anything from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, everything?
Yeah, like I thought we were going to play the Beatles because I love Paul McCartney's bass playing. And so I had learned a bass line from that.
I have his bass guitar signed by him in the other room. It's a replica, but it's the one that he used on the roof, and he signed it. It's so awesome.
He's underrated. He's underrated because everybody is so, fast and slapping. And
Right.
And he can play. Anyway,
yeah.
So we're going to do that. And then, but there's another song that I heard is Return of the Mac.
I love Mark Morrison, right?
So I'm going to do that.
Return of the Mac.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to play. That, yeah.
Dude, I love that song.
I know. I don't know why, but
I know.
Maybe a month ago, I just was kind of listening and I went, I love that song.
I know it's a song that every time you hear, you got to play it.
Yeah.
So I had to let you go. Yes, I did.
What is it? Well, I thought I told you so, but I guess you didn't know. As I said, the story goes, baby, now I got my flow.
Yeah,
And I knew it from the start. Oh, baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I'm real. You lied to me. All those times you said that I love you, you lied to me. But I tried, you lied to me.
I love it.
Even though you know I'd die for you, you lied to me. But I cried, cried.
Come on. Now everybody's going to go listen to it.
Totally.
So when you started to get into acting, what was the acting bug? Where did that come from?
I was in at Pasadena City College for 2 years, and I was started in psychology, then I went psychology, then I went to communications, radio and TV producing, and I found a love for directing. And so then I moved up to San Francisco, and I was going to go to San Francisco State, got accepted, but I got a job, and then I dropped out. I was having the time of my life.
Right.
And so when I got back down to LA, I knew this guy from high school, good friend in high school. His dad was assistant director on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. In fact, the last 2 years of the Mary Tyler Moore Show in the newsroom, you'll see me in the background. And so through a couple of tricks of fate, they encouraged me to get into to do commercials, get a commercial agent. And he says, because it's going to take a while for you to get a directing thing. We really like the way you act, do this. And once I got into acting, I just fell in love with it. I went back to school and started that. I always thought I could do the directing thing later, and I'm glad I did because I understood actors a lot better. And so I was able to navigate that pretty easy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's amazing is I know you did Neutrogena commercial. You were the face of Neutrogena.
No, the voice.
You're the voice of
Neutrogena T-gel shampoo.
For how long?
Oh, it was a year.
Good money though, huh?
No, it was decent.
It was decent.
Because you never get those.
Unless you're a big name at the time or something like that.
Or the commercial, Progressive? Unless you were the face of.
Oh, yeah. Like Flo.
Like Flo.
Yeah.
Or Dennis Haysbert.
Right. Or Arby's. We have the meats.
Has it been 30 years he's been doing that?
I mean, how much money is he making?
Yeah.
Good Lord. Mm-hmm. You were in Rocky uncredited?
First gig, real gig.
Who was the scene with?
It was a couple of scenes with Apollo Creed, Carl, who just passed away.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be only a couple of days in his office. We were like his bodyguards, this other guy and I.
Wait, that you're in the office while he's figuring out what he's going to do?
Yeah. Now
we're going to give it to yeah.
Now there was a couple of scenes, and there's a couple that I'm not in. There's a couple I am in. Then there was, we were with him at the rink,
right?
At the ring when he was fighting, and that was really fleeting. But it was a great thing because for whatever we think of Sylvester Stallone, he really had a vision about it, and he was going to stick to his guns. And I remember in between shots when he was doing the fights, he was on the table getting a massage and writing and rewriting scenes.
Wow. I mean, that guy is one of the hardest working.
Yeah.
I mean.
And I met him. I met him again 10 years later. 10 years ago, I was doing a movie called Shade. And it was a poker scene, and he was playing one of the poker guys, and I was sitting next to him, and I said, I got to tell you something. And he says, oh yeah. And he remembers me, or he said he did. And I said, well, I just remember, I told him that story. And he says, yeah, nobody wanted that show. Nobody wanted that movie. The producers,
nobody,
the direct, they didn't want the director. The studio didn't want it. And he said there was a scene, and I didn't know this, there was a scene that he really had to shoot.
Right.
And they said, no, you can't have that. No. It was going to cost him like an extra $20,000. I mean, it was something ridiculous. And they said no. And he convinced them to give him one take. And if he didn't get it in one take and tried to do another take, there was a guy at the generator that was literally going to pull the plug.
Wow. That's, that is
Great story.
confidence.
Great story. And he got the scene, and it was important.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you remember auditioning for Worf?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was it, were you nervous?
No.
No. It was
No.
one of those auditions where you went in and you just had confidence?
Well, there was a whole thing that goes along with that. From the time I started, I went to acting school, but they never taught you how to get the job. They taught you how to act. And I could act, but I was having problem getting the job, the cold readings.
Right.
And so I went to a class, Brian Reese on Fountain Avenue. And I went to that class, and it just opened me up. And so we were doing cold readings every week. And as you know, if you're doing cold readings every week, one more is gravy.
Right.
And so I knew the show very well because I grew up on it and I loved it and knew all the characters. And so it was just another audition that I went to. Not that I didn't want to do it. I was like going, oh my God. But I had been doing really well.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of
You were
stuff.
on Chips for a series. You were on,
After that,
you've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And after that, at that time, I'd go out there was a lot of auditions, and I go out for 3 and I'd get 2. I go out for 1 and I'd get it, I go out for 2 and
You were very confident.
I was, yeah. And so it was very fast. It wasn't like the original. I mean, the rest of the guys, because they had months of audition, months,
Really?
long time.
So you just had one audition, or did you have a callback?
I had one audition where I think it was 15 or 16 other guys. And then
You remember any of the other guys?
sure, there was, the 2 that I do remember, there was a guy named Gene, who's a good friend, and he was in there. But, it was those days, we all knew each other. 'Cause there weren't,
Oh, he's here. He gets everything.
Yeah, or we'd go, he got that one? Great. He's off the list now.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah. And so a bunch of guys, but James Avery, who was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the father, and another guy named James Watkins Jr., or James Watkins Jr. And so I saw those guys, and then I get a call back, and it's just 3 of us. And it's James Avery, me, and James Watkins. And they have us go in twice and come out. And then they said, okay, thank you guys. And they said, Michael, we have a video that you sent us, and we want to give it back to you. Could you hold on a second? And I go, yeah. And then everybody leaves, and I'm waiting around. I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch. And they come out, and they said, the director comes out, and he goes, it's going to be nice working with you. And
right there, that never happens.
Yeah, right there.
Usually they call an agent. They have their, their talks.
No.
You're the guy.
And they got on the phone and called my agent from the office, and they were very happy. And that day, I think the reason they had to do it is that they had to get me in makeup that day. They had to start doing the test.
And you had no idea
No.
what this was going to entail.
I knew the makeup. I knew the makeup was going to be a lot, but I didn't mind. And
Really?
yeah, and I went to Michael Westmore and had the makeup test that day. We did, I think it was a week of makeup tests.
How many hours was it to get in the makeup?
3 hours.
3 hours for the entire run.
Yeah, towards the end, no. Towards the end, it was about an hour and a half.
They got it down. They had probably 2 people working on you.
No, they had one person, but what happened is that my skin started to rebel the second season, and so they had to make some changes.
Wow.
Mhm.
Do you remember your first day on set coming in as Worf?
Yeah, I totally do.
What was it like?
It was because I wasn't part of the group. It was sort of like being that guest actor, where you just come in. The groups, they're off doing their thing, and they've cemented relationships and everything like that.
Jeez, you had to be nervous.
No, not at all. I was looking forward to it because I was just kind of going, oh, this is going to be cool. And the guy says, the guy goes, okay, and Michael, you do this and do this and do this. And I stood there, and Jonathan walks in, and I say something to him. I do the scene with him, and that's the end of it.
But you put on a voice. You do a different voice.
The first 2 episodes was this voice. And then Gene came to me and said, we got to do something about your voice. It sounds too American. And so I went home and I came up with 3 voices. And when I got to the Worf voice, he goes, that's it. That's the voice. Okay. And that's how I got the voice.
Wow. Did you dub the other 2 episodes?
No.
You just kept it in and it just evolved. Do you think that this character was something that you got right away, you knew what it was, or did it take time to evolve into what you knew, what it became ultimately?
Actually, I have a thing that I do, which is I give the character a backstory. No matter what they say, I give the character back, unless they say they give me a backstory.
This is the backstory.
But Gene was very good. He said, hey, Michael, just make the character your own. Because I asked him, what do you want from this thing? From this character. And he said, just make the character your own. I go, okay. And I realized that the other actors were all very comrades, and we're going out in space and they liked each other and, this is funny. And, it was this really nice group. And I went, I'm going to do the opposite. And that's how the Worf came along. He was
an outsider.
He was angry. He was an outsider, and he loved being an outsider because he felt he was better than everybody. And he just didn't like to be given orders. He would do them, he'd carry them out, but he'd bristle at everything.
But in terms of hanging with the cast and all this, were you method where you wouldn't hang out with them?
No.
You were easy. You could easily turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't see me. They didn't know who out of makeup for a couple of weeks because I was there before everybody and I left after everybody left. So they didn't see me I come on the set and a lot of them are just going, I go, hi. And they go, what?
What?
Yeah.
You look completely different.
Totally different.
It's crazy. We'd never recognize you.
No.
Isn't that good?
Perfect.
Do people come up to you?
No.
Even now?
A lot. Well, during the run, no.
But once you started doing interviews and things like that.
Once we started doing the movies, then there was a lot of interviews, national interviews where people would see and they would, I'd get more play that way, people would say. Yeah. But before then, no.
Inside of You is brought to you by Lumen. Ryan, do you know what Lumen is?
Why don't you tell me about it?
Lumen is one of the world's first handheld metabolic coach. This is amazing. It's a device that can help measure your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if it detects if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management.
All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and it will tell you what it sees going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs.
Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so Lumen can tell you exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your wellness game. This is pretty much amazing.
Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going.
Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does. Optimal metabolic wellness translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc.
Lumen gives you recommendations to help improve your metabolic wellness.
Yes, and it can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism in good shape through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. So if you want to take the next step in helping to improve your health, go to lumen.me/inside to get 15% off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me/inside. lumen.me/inside for 15% off your purchase. Lumen.me/inside to get 15% off your Lumen.
Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
Inside of You is brought to you by Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. There's a lot of products out there, and this product seems to be doing the trick for a lot of people. Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors such as plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need.
Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol helps support hair growth from within by targeting possible key root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole body wellness.
And while many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In Nutrafol's own clinical study, 72% of men saw more scalp coverage after taking Nutrafol men hair growth supplement for 6 months, and 86% of women saw improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol women hair growth supplement for 6 months.
With a Nutrafol subscription, getting help building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required.
Automated deliveries and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace membership is included. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code INSIDE. Find out why over 4,500 professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDE. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDE. You ever kiss someone in the morning and you wish you hadn't? It's a real turnoff. Bad breath, that is. And that goes for everyone. Yes, I created a product called Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. Just one full cap in your dog's water. And wow, it's odorless, tasteless. You'll be kissing your dogs all day.
My breath is delicious.
Yeah, mine too. It's awesome.
Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. Get it on Amazon today. Did you ever feel, because I'm sure I went through this with like playing Lex Luthor, but did you ever feel like a time where you were just like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm looking at you shaking your head, and I find it astonishing that there's not one moment, 2 hours into makeup, knowing you have 3 and you've done 100 episodes, you're thinking, I'm ready to be done with this.
I think there's 2 things. My upbringing, very kind of middle class. You go to work and you work until they tell you to go home. Or until they tell you we don't want you anymore, but you go to work. And also in those days, for me at least, and maybe it's different for a lot of actors, but, being a black actor, those things don't come along at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're lucky enough to get on a show that's going, being in makeup is nothing. I mean, that's like, who cares?
What was your average day length?
I'd get there at 3:30
in the morning.
Yeah. And then I would leave probably 9 or 10.
At night?
Yeah.
Well, that's 16 hours. So how do you time to learn lines?
There's plenty of time.
Doesn't seem like it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're there's lunch times and there's breaks and stuff like that. It's.
Were you exhausted?
No.
You were never tired? I mean, you were tired, I'm sure, but.
No, not really. Not really. I mean, the weekends come along and my weekends were to myself. And so I recharge then.
Were some of the other actors exhausted?
I don't know.
You didn't see them kind of being like, oh.
Let me tell you something. I think that we all were the same way in terms of that way of we have a job.
That's a
You know,
A great way to think about it.
it's
It really is.
I got a job, you know, like,
Yeah.
and a good job,
Yeah.
you know. So I do know that the first 6 months was a little rough because it seemed to be that people were really jockeying for position. And because I was the low man on the totem pole, it was very difficult to sort of have the power to say something, you know.
Right.
And it became very clear. And there was a moment there. That was a moment that I was kind of going, I called my agents and I said, I just don't think this is going to work. This is like too difficult politically. You know, not the work, but just the politics was a bit on the difficult side. And to their credit, I'm very pragmatic. And they said, Michael, we understand, give it a year. After a year, if you still feel that way, well, and I said, yeah, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll take your suggestion. But if I say no, I don't want to hear a discussion about it. I don't want you to, you know, sit me down and try to convince me. And they said, okay, you got a deal.
So it worked.
It worked.
You saw things change.
A lot. Yeah, a lot.
You felt like you were part of the gang.
Well, not part of the gang, but I felt like that the producers and the writers liked my character because they started to write some really, really good stuff. And you're not going to get a show every, you know, out of 26. I'll get 4 or 5
Right.
out of 26. But those 4 or 5 were great episodes.
When did you realize people really are responding to my character? This is
not until they asked me to come back to Deep Space.
really?
Yeah.
Was that like season 4?
No, Deep Space was after 7 years.
Wait, they called you back to when?
No, we did 7 years. We did a movie, and then they called me back to do Deep Space right after we did the first movie, which was 90. I forget. 95.
And that's when you realized, what was it that you felt sort of like?
That the producers and the fans were in sync that this character is worth the trouble. Because, you know, I'm a pretty good negotiator and they don't like that.
Right.
And he was worth the trouble to bring him back to help with Deep Space Nine, to add to that show so that, you know, they could go for their 7 years. And at that point I went, okay, the guy has, you know, there's something there, whatever that is.
What about, did you know you were going to get asked to do Picard?
No.
You really had no clue. No one said, hey, season 3, we're bringing you in.
Oh, God, no.
You think that they would have give you a little notice like, hey.
No, I got to tell you, that's a very long story too, but it's a funny thing that I was asked several times to be part of that new universe. But because of just circumstances, just that sort of, you know, that one thing that happens, you know, nothing to do with me, but just something happens, like on Discovery, they said, hey, we want you to come back and do this character. It would be great. We'll show you that. And scripts, everything. I was talking to the producer. The producer gets fired. And they bring in a whole nother crew. So it's those type of things. So that was going on for a long time. And then one time, you know, I just went, okay, that's it. You know, I'm not going to think about this anymore. And then they called all of us and they said, we want you all to come back at the same time.
Wow.
I mean, and we were all like, what? Huh? Sure.
Everyone was like, yeah. Why? What was it, Patrick? Was it that it was a final goodbye? It just seemed intriguing. What was it that brought you back?
They paid us so that we couldn't say no. We could not say no. Now, it's not astronomical by no means.
But it was enough money to say, I'm coming back.
My thing was, I don't know about the other people, but my thing was, that's fine, and I'd like to do it, but it's got to be interesting, and I can't be background. I can't be standing there stoic and mad, scowling. The guy has got to have an arc. It doesn't have to take up the whole show, but whatever he's doing, it has to be an interesting arc. And they did give it to me. It was lovely. That Michelle Hurd was amazing to work with, and we had a great time, and our characters were, meld and so it was fantastic.
Do you think in your heart of hearts you're done with the character? Do you think that, hey,
No. I think that Worf is one of the characters, I'll speak for myself, I think he always has a place somewhere.
and you'd always consider it?
Totally. If it's interesting, yeah.
Wow.
If it's interesting.
Have you always had such a great attitude? I mean, your parents must have been great raising you, like really taught you what you're supposed to be doing and what, how to do it and you just have you look like you don't stress a lot.
Well, I've been on this journey since my prostate thing about stress and how stress causes a lot of diseases. But the one thing is that I have a strong family, and we were raised strict, as they say, and like I said, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich, and so we just appreciated everything, and also, what we do. Like I'll tell you an interesting thing. My family always keeps me in check. Always. They'll look at me like, really? You're telling me this? Because there was a, and this, when you go to, what do you call it? Business affairs at the studio. You know how they are.
Yeah, and how they treat you. Like you're nothing. Like you're
like,
nothing.
He's lucky to be here.
Yep.
He's not even that good,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've been down that road.
Oh my God. I've been down it a few times too, and it's like, really? And I don't get, I just go, they said that? He goes, yeah, my lawyer, who's, Ralphie. And so anyway, and so they said there was a thing that they wanted to do with the episodes. And we said, no. We said, that's not the way it's supposed to be. And so they were offering not your salary, but less than your salary for, if you worked a certain amount. And so I'm going, my cousin Donald, we're talking, and I go, yeah, they want to do this. I can't believe it. They want to pay me this instead of that. And he goes, Michael, how much are they going to pay you for like a couple of hours? And I go, I see what you're saying.
Calling you out.
I go, yeah. And I call my agent. Okay, we'll do it. And luckily we
Voice of reason
always. And they've always kept me that way. And, everybody I know that isn't in the business and that is in the business, they have a lifestyle, and they can feed their kids and send their kids to school. And it makes me not complain about somebody wanting to pay me to do something
you know how to do.
I know how to do, and I love doing, and I have a passion for it.
Why do people love Star Trek?
You got to ask every person that loves Star Trek that question. For me, on a personal level, when it was on in the 60s, it was a morality play every week. It was a beginning, middle, and end every week, and it was a morality play. And in those days, because science fiction was still relegated to the B movie kind of genre, they could do so much stuff because they weren't mainstream. And they spoke to racism, they spoke to balance of power, they spoke to all of these things, sexism, They spoke to, I mean, if you look at these episodes, it's like religion. One of my favorite lines was they were debating this society where it was like the Romans had never lost. And the whole planet was governed by Roman. But there's these sun worshipers that were worshiping, and at the end of it, they say, it's kind of weird that they worship the sun, that doesn't make sense. And Uhura says, you got it wrong, to all the guys standing around, you got it wrong. He says, they're not worshiping the sun in the sky, they're worshiping the Son of God. And they just all went, holy shit,
Right.
It was, and so you could do that. And we love that. And plus, you saw Uhura, a black woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A beautiful black woman.
Oh, yeah.
And you saw Chekhov and Sulu, and it was a multicultural.
Yes.
And they continue that.
And escapism.
And then with our show too, they
Yeah.
continued. It was a morality play every week,
Yeah, I love that.
except for one episode, Code of Honor.
What about it?
I actually thought, it was maybe the third or fourth episode, I actually thought that we weren't going to make it from that episode. It's not that I can't tell you. You got to watch it. If you can just find it someplace and sit down and watch it. It was one of the worst episodes.
Really? That's the one episode you think of when you're like, that's Code of Honor.
And I don't think they did it to make a bad episode. I think that they actually, when they went through the whole process, they went, this is a good idea. This is a really good idea. Oh my God,
And it wasn't.
And I think they were watching the show that, put together with everything. And they went, oh my God. Oh my God. Because I tell you, they aired it and they took it out of rotation. It wasn't in any of the reruns.
Wow. Ryan, I got to watch that.
You got to watch it.
Tell me quickly about the comic that you wrote.
Oh, I got a call because I had done a character voice, John Henry Steele. And they just had an idea that wouldn't it be interesting to have me involved in this 6-issue volume that they have out. And they called my agent and they said, well, what does he want to do? And I said, you know what? I like writing, so I'd like to write it. And it was better than my other experience with writing, because I didn't write a book, but they put my name on it and took out everything that I wrote. And
Yes.
And it was horrible. But it was, I'd say 95%, everything that I wanted, but they had to do as editors, and they know the character and they
Right.
know the thing. They had to say, Michael, we need to put this in, or we have to do this, or you have to explain this. There was one thing where I said I wanted his niece to fall in love with, I think his name is Connor. And they said, well, that's a very good idea, but she's a lesbian. And
Can't fall in love with a lesbian?
they said, no. And I go, okay, it's not, it just was a thought I had.
Right.
But they were very good. And I really liked the way it turned out because, the character wasn't about, going out there and flying around. He really was introspective because there's a old cartoon that was bizarre and racist at the same time about John Henry. And he was fighting against the machine,
Yeah.
and he was this, and all I want to do is lay track, and I'm a steel driving man, and he fights against the machine. and fucking dies. His fucking heart bursts,
Right.
you know? And I go, well, I don't like that. And so I told him, I said, I wanted the story to be that he says, you know what? And he says, this John Henry, and Lana goes, what are you talking about? He says, well, he's fighting against the machine and the machine wins, basically, And so his armor is that machine. And he doesn't want to lose himself
right
to the armor.
Now, where could people see this?
At any comic book store.
Any comic book store.
Or online.
And it's called?
Steelworks.
Steelworks.
Yeah.
And you wrote all 6?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was.
I can tell how passionate you are.
But the funny thing is that was, and that's the thing I love about the business, that sometimes, you really appreciate every part of it, because I was writing and said, Michael, we want to show you what it looks like. And they showed me, I went, oh my God, that's fantastic. It looked really good. These are great artists.
It's
that
awesome.
could just come up with this stuff.
Yeah, something you can't even see. Like they
can't even see.
Yeah. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Michael Dorn. Patreon.com/inside of you if you want to support the podcast and give back.
Uh-huh.
Brian H., what's your favorite aircraft you've ever flown? And it just amazes me that you have time to do all this stuff, and you're a pilot and you own a plane. But go ahead.
F-16.
You flew an F-16?
A couple of times. A few times.
What did you love about it?
It was, you sit in it and you're reclined, and a little stick, but the turning and the G-forces, it's like a pure dogfighter. Like where a guy, if you're here and a guy's on your tail, by the time you get to the full circle, you're all the way around inside his turning radius.
Can you handle the G-force? How much G-force can you handle?
In the F-16, it was 9 Gs.
Gee.
Yeah, and I got they give you a little pin, a little 9G pin.
Is there someone there in case you passed out?
Oh, no. I'm in the back seat.
Oh, you are, but they let you take over.
Yeah, no, we did dog fights and air-to-air refuelings and stuff like that, and they let you fly. Especially if you know how to fly, they let you fly.
Wow, what a damn treat.
And then but you had a G suit. And in the other airplane, I flew with the Canadians, I flew with the Blue Angels. And in those, they don't have G suits. So I was able to do 7.5 without passing out.
Wow. Have you ever passed out?
Yeah, a couple of times with the Blue Angels.
I passed out too. I was in a MiG,
mm-hmm.
and I was in the back. This guy was trying to get me to do this movie, and he goes, all right, take over the controls. And I took over, and he goes, do this and move to the little less button. And he was kind of showing me, and I was taking over the control. I could feel the controls in
mm-hmm.
the plane. And then he goes, all right, let's go for a ride. And he starts going, and he goes, all right, you're going to, and he just goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did this turn, and I just go.
Yeah. Who was the guy? Do you remember?
I don't remember his name. I could look it up. I have it. I have the video of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was incredible.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm a little claustrophobic, so up there it's tough.
Yeah.
You have to, that was my first time, and I was just going for it, and I was like, this is a lot on your first time.
No, the Blue Angels, it was like when we take off, they go boom, and I just blow. And then the second time, it was funny. They got the video and they edited it out my second time because they said it was just too violent. I went, and they said they can't show that to people or else people wouldn't go,
Wow. You're like, I want to see it.
I really wanted to see it. I know.
Melissa M., I love the cartoon Gargoyles.
Mm-hmm.
Was this your first animation, and how did you approach your character?
No, my first animation was, I did a lot of animation, but the one that stuck out was I Am Weasel. There was I Am Weasel, Cow and Chicken. And I did a lot of that. And then there was a lot of Warner Brothers cartoons, and then that.
And you also did tons of video games. You did Fallout. You did a bunch of stuff. Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Right?
Did a bunch of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen T., what has been your most meaningful interaction with a Star Trek fan? Anything you can remember that some fan came up and said something to you?
Oh, totally. There was one guy that it was in Vegas, and we went to they invited me to a Klingon party. I go to the party. Everyone's dressed up as Klingons. It's really pretty fun. And this one guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, Michael, I really," and his stuff was great. I mean,
he looked great.
Oh, he looked fantastic. And I go, "God, that's," and he goes, he said, "You saved my life." And I never heard that, but you don't really kind of, like, what do you mean? And he goes, "Well," he said, "he lost everything to drugs and alcohol. Lost his job, lost his family, lost everything. And he had nothing. And he just loved Worf's bravery, and he loved that he was honorable, and despite everything that's happening to him, being an outsider and all that type of stuff, he said he just clicked with him. And he said he got his stuff together. He's working, he's sober, he's got a family, and he says, you did this. And I said, thank you, you did it, but, I'll take it.
Do you ever get emotional, or do you try to hold
That's
back?
when I got emotional.
You did get emotional.
That's when I got emotional.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's happened to me before. And you're like, thank you so much. I mean, that means I'm so glad but sometimes I just can't control myself.
And it sticks with you for a while.
Yeah.
He walks away or I go by and I'm signing it off, just still going, And there was another time, it was in Philadelphia. I remember this so well. Philadelphia, we were selling our pictures, and this guy, Orthodox Jewish guy, comes up with his daughter. Lovely person, Sarah. I never forget her name. And his name's Malachi. And he comes up and he says, how much are there? And I tell him, and he says, oh God, I don't have that. And she looks so, no, I said, here.
Yeah.
And she was so happy. I said, here, just don't say it.
Yeah.
And
so nice.
and he said, I really identify with your character. What are you talking about? He says, because in his religion, because he is not a certain type of Jewish, or he doesn't follow a certain type of Jewish
Orthodox or whatever it is.
They don't consider him a real Jew. And, I'm looking at him going, well, you have this,
the
and
payas.
you have this, and he didn't have that.
Oh, he didn't have that.
He had the string down the side.
Right.
They're going to kill me for that.
What is that? I should know. I'm a terrible Jew.
And
I should know that.
And with the yarmulke and everything, and I'm going, you're kidding. And he observes. I said, he says, oh yeah, but I'm not that kind. And so he felt like an outsider,
like Worf.
Yeah. And I went, well, you know something, man? I can't talk to you about religion, but just know that you are, everything that you think you are.
I would have looked at him and said, you're more of a Jew than I am.
I wish I had thought of that. Hey, I'm not even close.
I'm not even close to being.
Yeah.
This has been great. I hope you had a good time.
I did.
You're so easy to talk. Is there anything coming up that you want to talk about, or?
Actually, yes. I wrote a Western.
What? You like Westerns?
Are you?
I love Westerns.
Grew up on Westerns.
Favorite Western of all time?
Oh, that's too tough.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's too tough.
Unforgiven.
No, well, okay. The John Ford Westerns, the trilogy, Rio Grande, Shoe Yellow Ribbon, and Fort Apache. That's one. The one that I can watch every time it comes on was Rio Bravo with John Wayne. Okay. And then Magnificent Seven, the original.
Yep.
I read in TV Guide, when they had TV Guide one time, they said, oh, it was, it wasn't very good. What are you kidding me?
So you wrote a Western.
I wrote a Western and Unforgiven.
Oh yeah.
That was the last one. I was just like, floored. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I wrote one, and we've been trying to get it through the normal channels, which, as you know, is really
Brutal.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. A producer told me, "Oh, it's going to break your heart," and so I decided to do another avenue that people do is they'll do a very small movie, and with your friends, not a lot, make it a like claustrophobic, couple of actors,
To give them an idea.
in a one set, and then take it out to the festivals.
Yeah.
And so I decided that, my wheelhouse is science fiction. It's Star Trek. So it's not Star Trek, but I'm using Star Trek actors. And they are the core. And it's only three of us.
I love that.
And so the way I wrote it, it's really claustrophobic. Put it in a little set someplace, not a bunch of dials and stuff going on, and have it a character piece. And so that's what I'm finishing writing that. And once that gets done, then I go to the next stage, which is to get it filmed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Doing what you love.
Yeah. It's great.
I know. Well, this has been a real treat.
I'm so glad.
I really appreciate you coming finally. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's done.
I totally enjoyed it, man.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's amazing.
You're
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
It was great. He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked it. I know there's a lot of Star Trek fans out there, so I'm curious to see what the message board will say and what they think. Hopefully I asked some of the right questions. But remember, this podcast is more about life and story and facing adversity and all that stuff. So it's not always about like, oh, Star Trek and like, why didn't he ask him this? Because I love Star Trek, but I wasn't as big of a fan as most of you are out there. So I'll admit that.
No, he's just got a cool story. I mean, I like when you get guys in here who are of a certain age who have been around and have stories to tell, and of how things were and how they're dealing with it now and aging with grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that because a lot of times you see people his age, not make it that long, and their life, sort of they don't take care of themselves, and see what he does to improve his life and continue on. So thank you, Michael. And thanks to everybody for listening today. Again, if you enjoyed it, give the podcast a chance and subscribe and listen every week. Our conversations, there's so many in the can that you can go back and listen to. And I really appreciate you. And now it's time for those top tiers. The top tiers who give back to the show in more ways than more ways than one.
Yes.
Yeah. These are the top tiers who get their names shouted out. I send boxes to them. Patreon.com/inside of you. And here we go. We're going to do it. We're going to read them. I love all these ladies and gents, all these peeps. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Niko P, Rob L, Jason Dreamweaver, Sophie M. Sophie, hello. That was English or something. Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike and L, Dan, Supremo Dan. How are you? Ryan?
Sorry, wrong page. 99 more, Santiago M, Leanne P, Maddie S, Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave H,
Dave. Oh, hello, Dave.
Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Dev Nexon, Michelle A.
Yes, all these wonderful people. I feel like I just know these people. I kind of do know all these people. At this point, it's like I'm not only reading their names, but a lot of them I've met at cons. I'll probably see a lot of them in New Jersey. A lot of people were talking about having a Patreon hangout, and the problem is we just don't have any time. Because Tom gets there for late Friday and I get there, and I'd love to do that, but I think there'd just be too many people to do it this time. But we're going to do one next year for sure at one of the cons. We'll have a meetup. We'll decide and give you guys a heads up. But this is going to be, busy time with pictures and autographs and our show Saturday night, and it'll just be too much, I think. And I want to put a good show on for Saturday night. In fact, the show is supposed to be an hour and a half. Our Smallville nights, but we've got a lot of people coming, and we're going to make it at least 2 hours. So we're just going to, it doesn't say that, it says an hour and a half or an hour, but we're going to make it 2 hours.
Nice.
So what I'm saying, Ryan, is these people are going to get sick of us. You are going to get so sick of us, you're not going to know what to do. You are going to get just like, we've had enough Smallville. We don't need any more Smallville after this weekend. Where do we stop?
Michelle A.
Michelle A. Don't ever stop with Michelle A. Jeremy C, Mr. M, Eugene and Leah. Love Eugene and Leah and the Salty Ham. And Mel S, Eric H, Oracle. Hi, Oracle and Amanda R, William K, Kevin E, Jorel, Jam and J, Leanne J.
Luna R, Mike F, Jules M, Jessica B, Kaylee J, Charlene A, Marion Louise L, Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T, Nikki L, April R M, Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D.
And don't forget Jen, the Carolina girl, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan, Stefan, Charlene A. What accent is that?
That was roughly Australian.
Donji, Jenny B76, Jennifer R, Tina E, NG, Tracy, Keith B, Heather and Greg. Hi, Heather and Greg. And hi, Ellie K and Elizabeth L. And Ben B. Jemin, Pierre C, Sultan, Ingrid C, Brandon C, Ronit L, Mrs. Lex Luthor. Who's Mrs. Lex Luthor? I'd like to know. Jesse J. Thank you all. I appreciate you. I couldn't do this without you. Thanks for being patrons and supporting the show. And I just got back from Vegas, so I'm a little tired today. But I feel,
I can imagine.
But it was fun. Yeah, I'm not a partier. I think I might have had one drink the whole weekend. I had a pina colada.
Nice.
By the pool because it was fruity tasting.
Yeah.
But I had fun. I had a lot of fun. I saw some friends. So it's good connecting is just to stop what you're doing and just enjoy. So thank you for everything. And from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I am Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Tejas.
Little wave to the camera. We love you. And as always, be good to yourself. I'll see you next week.